Well, good afternoon and welcome to our virtual Black History Month celebration. Please remain standing for the singing of O Canada, which will be sung by Stephanie French.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
So much for joining us here today. The Honorable, the Minister Madu, MLA Shepherd, and featured guests joining us on our live stream. Today is our first entirely virtual Rotunda ceremony, and so it is my great pleasure to give our ceremony the very best to you and hope that we can connect with as many people right across Alberta and look forward to being able to do that in the future, as well as inviting people back into the legislature building to celebrate what are often very, very important events. In fact, one of my greatest honors is to serve this building in our province as the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly of Alberta. And my name is Nathan Cooper. And it's my great pleasure to be with you today. And in fact, one of my greatest pleasures is to be able to host ceremonies much like we are today, celebrating the importance and the differences of a wide variety of cultures. But today, it is my great pleasure that we are able to celebrate together Black History Month. In 2021, it marks the 5th year that this event has formally been recognized in the province of Alberta, and this year marks the 25th year of Black History Month in Canada. So it is a very significant year, to be sure. In addition to my remarks on this morning, we will also hear remarks on behalf of the Premier of Alberta and the Leader of Her Majesty's Official Opposition. And today's event will feature a number of pre-recorded performances that have been submitted for our ceremony today. And I know I have had the pleasure of seeing them already, and I am more than excited to be able to share them with you as well with a number of important community speakers. I want to focus my brief remarks this morning to recognize Alberta's early Black settlers for their resilience and determination, which would result in many significant accomplishments. The first wave of pioneers could not have known all that they would face when departing upon their journey from the southern United States in the early 1900s. But their tenacity served them well. They truly had the Alberta spirit even before knowing they had the Alberta spirit. And for this, we are deeply grateful. We thank them for their achievements and the contributions that they've made that have become fundamental to the fabric of our province. More than personal triumphs, their actions and their character were the forerunners that laid the foundation of their communities and our communities and paved the way not only for today's leaders, but also for future generations of leaders. Black History Month calls upon each of us to look back and recognize the enormous contribution of people of African and Afro-Caribbean descent that have made to this province and to this country. But Black History Month isn't just about looking backwards. We also recognize the descendants of these pioneering men and women who continue to ensure that their legacies of their ancestors are neither overlooked nor forgotten. We hope to inspire current and future leaders to build on this strong foundation and continuing empowering their communities to make lasting and significant contributions to Alberta's society. The UN General Assembly proclaimed 2015 to 2024 as the International Decade for People of African Descent to underline the importance of the contributions made of those of Africans' descent to our societies, to purposefully and through concrete measures promote full inclusion, and to combat racism, racial injustices, xenophobia, and other related intolerances. This UN initiative could not have been more timely or appropriate in light of the groundswell of support that we have seen for the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States, across North America, here in Alberta, and on these very grounds, and in fact, around the world. It is incumbent upon all of us, now more than ever, that we work together to overcome racial injustice and social inequity, as together we look towards the future. I would now like to welcome the Honorable Kalichi Madu, the MLA for Edmonton Southwest, and the Minister of Justice and the Solicitor General to bring remarks on behalf of the Honorable the Premier of Alberta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my colleague, David Shepherd, the MLA for Edmonton Centre, and thank you to everyone who have joined us for this event, the celebration of Black History Month. Thank you to all of our wonderful performers and our community speakers for your generosity to participate in this event. On behalf of Premier Jason Kenney and my Ministry of Justice and Solicitor General, I am honored to participate in this celebration of the history, place, and achievement of Black Albertans. Much of what has been accomplished is because of the tenacity of Black Albertans to overcome the legacy of institutional racism. Black Albertans have contributed greatly to every aspect of our province's history. I am reminded of John Ware, who was born into slavery in the United States and then rode north to become one of Alberta's first Black settlers. And who could forget the Lego pioneer, Violet King Henry, who became the first Black Canadian to obtain a law degree in Alberta, the first Black person admitted to the bar, and the first Black female to practice law in this great country. I owe much of my success to her courage and drive for change. Now, continuing in the legal tradition, we also stand on the shoulders of Lionel Loxley Jones, who became the first black man called to the bar and became the first black Canadian-born justice, serving on the Court of Queen's Bench of Alberta in 1995. At the risk of stoking a hockey rivalry, I'll be remiss if I did not also acknowledge the achievement of two hockey titans, Grant Farr and Jerome Iginla. Grant became the first black goaltender in the National Hockey League and the first black player inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame. Grant was also the first black player to raise the Stanley Cup trophy above his head. A generation later, Jerome became the first black male athlete to win a gold medal at the Olympic Winter Games in 2002. Each of these individuals made significant contributions to our province's history. Each of them paved the way for other black Albertans to achieve their goals, no matter what challenges lie ahead. And that is why we are here today, to celebrate our shared heritage as proud black Albertans and acknowledge those who came before us. Today, I am absolutely pleased to share the stage with so many talented singers, dancers, poets, and speakers from the community. They are a reminder that while the story of Black Alberta has chapters marked by struggle, oppression, and intolerance, it is also a story of joy, of creativity, of opportunity, and the tremendous progress that we have made as a people and society. These are the values that attracted me to Alberta as a young man growing up in rural southeast Nigeria. I wanted to find a place where my family and I could thrive and contribute to the public good while still honoring our African heritage. This is the story of countless black men, women, and families who have come here from Africa, from the Caribbean, from the United States, and beyond, to build lives and careers. Black History Month is also the story of thousands of anonymous black people whose hard work, creativity, business acumen, and love of family have enriched this province many times over. All these experiences and accomplishments should inspire our own lives as we work towards creating a brighter future for everyone that called this province home. I hope all Albertans, regardless of their background or their heritage, will take the time this month to learn about their achievements. Like today's ceremony, Black History Month is for all of us to enjoy. I want to take a moment to wish all Albertans, and indeed all Canadians, a very happy Black History Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaliche and Minister Madu. I know that that you are also a humble man, and I think it bears mentioning that you too have had a first for members of the Black community here in Alberta and indeed across Canada. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you are the first Black Minister of Justice in any jurisdiction in Canada, and so congratulations to you. And I think it is great that young Black Albertans and Canadians have the opportunity to see themselves in you, and the opportunity, and the same for Member Shepherd, that there is that young Albertans can see themselves in positions of leadership, and it is a great effort that you and other members of our assembly have been able to share with the communities. I'd like to welcome back Stephanie French for a musical performance. Stephanie is an Edmonton-based singer, musician, poet, and songwriter. She has been on stage at the Northern Jubilee Auditorium at the age of 2 with her church choir, starting piano at 5 and completing her grade 9 Royal Conservatory exam at the age of 16. Stephanie studies music at MacEwan University and has performed on every major stage in Edmonton in various gospel concerts. She's also written the Collegiate Quarterly Bible Study Guide and is one of the Edmonton's Poetry Festival's 2018 Poetry Moves on Transit winner. Stephanie published her first poetry book titled I Am in 2019 and released her first single, In Tune, last year. Stephanie French.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders and a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes on the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Oh, early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, I'm gonna start moving toward that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I've got a made up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. I will fight with the strength that I've got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. Around the bend might be hard to face, 'cause I'm alone, and I just might fail, but Lord knows I've tried. Sure, stars fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Me to answer, gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Oh, we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling you to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. See, I can feel it in my bones.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for Stand Up. I would now like to invite MLA David Shepherd, the MLA for Edmonton City Centre, to bring remarks on behalf of Her Majesty's loyal opposition.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity and indeed for all of the work you and your staff have put in to hosting this event here this year. Thank you also to Minister Madhu for your powerful words. While I know that we have our differences politically and philosophically, I am indeed glad that we are both here together as the third and fourth Black Albertans elected to serve in this place, and that we both stand united in working and desiring to see many more follow. Welcome to everybody who is tuning in to join this virtual celebration. It is a pleasure to join everyone here today on the traditional territory of Treaty 6 and land of deep significance to the Métis people of Alberta, on behalf of Rachel Notley, leader of the official opposition, and all of my colleagues in the Alberta NDP caucus for this, the 5th annual celebration of Black History Month at the Alberta Legislature. I remember well that night 5 years ago, when over 400 members of our communities filled this space, standing room only 3 floors up, for the first celebration. And while our gathering here today looks very different, it is no less joyous, powerful, or meaningful. Because Black men and women have been making enormous contributions to communities in Alberta for well over a century. From early arrivals like cowboy John Ware and serial entrepreneur Annie "Auntie" Sanders, to the hundreds of exodusters like J.E. Edwards who settled communities like Amber Valley, Keystone, and Campsie. Teachers like Velma Carter, Violet King, Alberta's first Black law graduate and the first Black woman in Canada to practice law. Restaurateur Hattie Melton, who hired young Black women so they could afford to get a university education. Mary Burley, who revolutionized social work with marginalized communities here in Edmonton. Athletes like Rolly Miles and Johnny Bright. Musicians like Lavero Carter and Big Miller. And thousands of others who all work to support their families and give back to their communities, who founded churches and schools, groups and organizations to help those in need and build strength in community, and indeed to fight for their civil rights against racist laws and discrimination in their communities. Empowering folks like Ms. Poston and Lulu Anderson in Edmonton, Charlie Daniels and Ted King in Calgary, and many others to fight against segregation in their communities, at local councils or in court. Because Black communities are resilient. 2020 was an incredibly difficult year for many, as COVID-19 forced them to experience what it is to live a life restricted, to live in a world surrounded by a constant, invisible, but deadly threat. to live in fear of its impact on their ability to make a living, their freedom of movement, or their and their loved ones' very lives and health. But black communities, as long as they've lived on this continent, have always known. And they've always found ways to survive and thrive, fighting to save and protect the lives of those battered and bruised by the disease of hatred and prejudice, and to uproot and transform the systems that empowered and entrenched its spread. And yet others to inoculate hearts and minds against it. And core to their success has been community, finding strength and creating spaces to come together, stand together, and fight together, even when hatred and prejudice strove to drive or force us to be apart. To celebrate all we are and to insist and defend that our lives matter. That is the history of the black community in Alberta and around the world. And 2020 was a reminder of that too. But we stand here today in 2021 to remember and celebrate the full diversity of who black Albertans are and what we can be, from the streets of our communities to the highest levels of influence and power. That we can follow in the footsteps of both John Ware, who rose from slavery to earn the respect of his peers, and mother and activist Ms. Poston, who went to City Hall here in Edmonton to demand that respect for her community. Of lawyer Violet King, who studied to fight for justice, and her brother Ted King, who went to court to claim it. Those who became leaders and those who fought to hold leaders to account. Because as 2020 made crystal clear, there is more work to do. But that is work we can do together, all Albertans, as we all recognize and celebrate Black History Month. So may the lives and the stories of those that went before us be the wisdom and inspiration to fuel our fight for better. And once this month is done, may this place continue to be one where all Albertans, and indeed the full breadth of the black community, is truly seen, embraced, and welcomed and heard, alongside the voices of all Albertans. I wish everyone a very happy Black History Month.
Well, thank you so much, Member Shepherd. A real pleasure to have your remarks today. Now, I'd like to welcome Titi Lope Sonoga. Titi Lope is an award-winning poet, writer, and performer who calls both Edmonton, Canada, and Lagos, Nigeria, home. She immigrated to Canada from Nigeria and became a civil engineer, but also has a love of writing and poetry. She founded a poetry night, Rogue Poetry, which led to an increasing opportunity for her to perform and teach, first here and then around Canada, and then right across the world. This led her into transitioning in 2013 into writing and performing as a full-time career. Please welcome Titi Lope.
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. It is an honor to celebrate Black history today and every day. There are prayers that are generations in the making, that push through time, through circumstance to arrive in the moment of their awakening. That is to say that my presence, every measure of magic that exists in my life, is likely the answer to a prayer made at the altar of an ancestor for whom I only existed as a dream, an offering made for a child they would never meet. That is to recognize also that this land holds the dreams of the Blackfoot, Cree, Dene, Nakota Sioux, Saulteaux, and Métis nations. This ancestral space of the Papaschase Cree is also where prayers were made for children unseen. To be here is to acknowledge what was lost, what was stolen, what snatched those dreams from the heart of a people, and the staggering grace required to dream and keep dreaming for the sake of generations to come. We celebrate Black history in Alberta by sitting within the contradictions, by pushing beyond the confines of the month into a more robust celebration of the everyday lived experience of Black people in our province. To celebrate is to reach back generations before us, for whom our very existence in all the ways we have flourished is an improbable prayer. To celebrate the first of our people, who arrived here determined to survive the unthinkable, who pushed back against what threatened to undo them, who persisted for our sake, for the possibility that we might not have to struggle. We celebrate Black history by reaching forward for the families, like mine, who crossed oceans, bellies bloated with hope, treading the water between yesterday and the promise of tomorrow, families that outswim the sharks of the past to find a land fertile enough to plant new dreams in. Those who run across borders, across bloodline, across tribe, who sit on buses, on trains, on airplanes, wait in airports, in embassies, in refugee camps. Those who arrive from across the world with all of our best intentions, who curl our tongues around a new language and learn a new word for home, for belonging. People who create community from strangers, who bring our gifts, our talents, our magic, whose labor and work make our province bloom. We honor our Black history by accepting the gulf between those first dreams of a life beyond struggle and strife and what our current reality has revealed, that we are not so far from where we began. What still is true is the many ways the Black body is re-traumatized here. Our blood still stains the streets. The scent of smoke still lingers in the air. We have seen, in the past year and beyond, what scurries to the surface when we let the light in, the staggering inequities we have witnessed in the face of a global crisis, how survival becomes the burden of those already most vulnerable, how beneath the veneer of progress is an age-old danger, an ever-present, life-threatening terror, known intimately by Black and brown people, the particular violence of affirming that our lives matter, and to be told to prove it. This is a pandemic that has always been, that doesn't exist in the realm of ancient history. It is here, it is now. Our healing begins always with the truth, with accountability and restoration. Black history is as brutal as it is beautiful. We know what it is to hold pain and joy side by side, to turn whatever threatens to destroy us into art, into music, into food, into dance. This is what we celebrate. The magic of our survival and how it colors the world. The language of our resistance and how we birth movements that surge humanity forward. But beyond our magic is also the right to ease, to abundance, to a life beyond survival, a life beyond our strength and immeasurable grace. That too is worthy of celebration, that the world might be a place of rest and refuge for us also. Black history is a celebration and a prayer forward for generations to come, that their lives may be the true evidence of what we fight for today, that their world is a resounding amen to the prayers we offer on behalf of a generation of people we will likely never know. Thank you so much, and happy Black History Month.
Thank you so very much. Next, we have a dance performance, Wezo Africa Music and Dance Theatre Incorporated is a performing arts organization based in Calgary. Founded in 2006, Wezo Africa, meaning Welcome to the Land of Perfection, highlights the organization's desire to bring the uniqueness of the African culture to the public, with a multidisciplinary approach that blends African music, theater, and dance, along with storytelling. Please welcome Wezo Africa.
Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my La Paz Toyota. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my La Paz Toyota. You don't want hear me, baby. You don't want see me. I get cars by the one by child. Give it that, baby. Wow, in case anything you can video, I won't pay. Freeway, can it be a taste? If I make your mouth, come out one day. Me a big boy, be a bitch in a crown. Me pimping in Quadano. Me a paper on the TikTok, go join our pro. La Paz Toyota. Hey, 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 hey. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my yeah. Dominicano be my oh yeah. Dominicano be my Dominicano be my La Paz Toyota.
I am very pleased to be able to welcome our next artist, who is a spoken word poet, Omar Fahar. Omar is a young Somalian-Canadian poet, engineer in training, and community-based builder here in Edmonton. He has made a name for himself locally and abroad as a former Edmonton Slam champion, the winner of the Saskatchewan Festival of Words, and a finalist in the Canadian Festival of Spoken Word. He has performed across Canada and the United States, from small local cafes to the Hard Rock. Please welcome Omar. He will be reading for us his poem, Ancestry.
Hello, my name is Omar Farah, and I am a spoken word artist based out here in Edmonton. Just want to thank you guys for having me here to celebrate Black History Month with y'all. And today I got a quick little piece that I've been writing over the last year or so, I want to say. I started writing it when I was actually traveling last year, back when we could do that. I was in Rome, in front of the Vatican, and FaceTiming my family and my dad and just showing him everything that was going on, all the attractions and everything. And he goes on to tell me that when he was really young, he actually used to be one of the boys that would put out the chairs for Sunday service and sweep and all that jazz. Now, at that point, I was kind of taken aback by it, just to see how much could really change within that one generation, from one working to the next, having a full 180 and visiting as a tourist. Now, Black history for me doesn't necessarily entail on studying up on MLK or Malcolm X's history and all that jazz, because for me, it really does tie back to my culture, my family, and my history. So I am, and you are, your ancestors to your future kin. And as said by Mr. Omari West, my existence alone makes Black history every day, so I don't need a month. Now for me, my family means everything. And I'm happy that my family history goes back deep, and I'm happy that I can learn about that history and encourage others hopefully to do the same if they can. So this piece is dedicated to my family, first and foremost, and tells you a little bit about me. See, because although my moms gave me life, it was my pops who gave his life for me. Forget a 9 to 5, 3 a.m. to 5, he'd work for me. Put food on the plate, I'd still complain, but he'd put up with me, so this is everything I wish I'd say. Adam and Eve didn't fall too far from the apple tree, but of the apple that within it we know it carried a seed. My pops taught me to be stone cold like Austin. Never show your emotions, because that's that sauce you don't get lost in. Now, I can say this right now because I'm a proud Somali Canadian. But before I say another word to appreciate the motherland, you best believe our nation's backs is resting on our mother's man. It was my mom's who's the one that would keep me out of trouble. She was a baller on a budget who would make oceans out of puddles. So before Ricky Rose had ever taught me how to hustle, before Westbrook and LeBron, because I hate to burst your bubble, but 3 kids and 2 jobs, homie, that's a triple-double. So the real privilege that we have is being born in this place with some roads in a place where you get to live this far into the poem, where you find receipts in your pockets. The transaction, I don't know. The funds ain't really a thing, because the money comes and the money goes. The real privilege is making more than my grandma will ever know, than my parents have ever seen, because Ayeyo's buried back home, where the power ain't guaranteed, where the walls are made of stone. So this poem's an apology. So dear Hoyo and Abo, I'm sorry for picking up on what's theirs and forgetting what you taught me, for using my hands less to eat, for switching your tea for their coffee, and for coming home every single day knowing a little more English, but a little less Somali. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Omar. Next, I'm pleased to welcome Janie Lehman. She is the founder and executive director of Black Canadian Women in Action, operating as BCW. She is passionately involved with the Francophonie Alberta, an organization for the integration of newcomers of Francophonie communities with the mandate to create bridges between the Franco-Albertan community, newcomers, and the mainstream. She tirelessly advocates for the empowerment of Black women to explore, invest, and exercise leadership in Canadian society. Ms. Lehman.
Hi, bonjour. Bienvenue. Welcome to Black History Month 2021. My name is Jeanne Lehman. I am the founder and the ED of Black Canadian Women in Action, operating as BCW. I'm so happy to be here today to celebrate the Black History Month. So what we do at BCW, BCW is an organization that has two components. One component with a center of well-being, with programs that promote, advocate, support, empower Black women and girls. And then we have another component that is BCA business, stands for Black Canadian in Action Business, where we help also men. So for us, Black History Month means a lot. As you know, Black people have always been here in Canada, but their story is untold. We face a lot of challenge as an organization, being on the ground, helping women and girls, and especially with this COVID, we found that there was a lot of challenge in our community. Not only, but our community was hit the hardest with the COVID. So sometimes one will say, what's celebrating Black History Month? But we'll say it's very important that we celebrate, because we see that in our community, usually we don't have a role model. We don't have people to look up to. Sometimes we will see that even in workplace or in business, we don't see Black people emerge. So it's very important to understand also what these people face, what are their challenge. This is what is very important to celebrate this Black History Month. So the Black History Month for us is to reflect to the past, but also to start to understand how we can move forward with the future. So we call everyone, it's not just for us, we call everyone, we call our friends for other community to come and celebrate with us the Black History Month 2021. We are so thankful that we're still standing here today to celebrate, to have this celebration. And we thank the government who allow us to be here today to celebrate with everyone. So happy Black History Month 2021.
Well, thank you so very much. We have one song remaining, and I'm so excited to welcome again Stephanie French.
Oh, pirates, yes, they robbed I, sold I to the merchant ship. Minutes after, they took I from the bottomless pit. but my hands was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward this generation triumphantly. So won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. But won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs. Oh, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Oof. Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. So won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs. Yes, all I ever have, redemption songs. These songs of freedom, the song of freedom, this song of freedom.
Once again, thank you, Stephanie. It has been a real honor of mine to be able to celebrate Black History Month. It is, even the ceremony today has been such a pleasure of the diversity that exists inside the Black community and the incredible amount of gifts that the community has given to Alberta and to the fabric of our province. I also want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you at home for joining us today, watching online. After the conclusion of the ceremony, the ceremony will be shareable, so I encourage you to do so in and amongst your social media networks so that more people can join together and experience the joy that we have experienced together today, and that of celebrating Black History Month, not just today, but for the remainder of the rest of the month as well. We all should be very proud of Alberta's Black history. It, in many ways, has shaped the character of our province and has contributed to the foundation of Alberta and Canada. Black History Month not only honors the Black settlers for their accomplishments and their contributions to society, but it also recognizes the leaders of today who are continuing to work to empower community members and inspire future generations. Now more than ever, we need to unite as Albertans and Canadians to continue to overcome racial injustice and social inequity, And today was just one very small way that we can join together to do those things. So from the very bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you have a wonderful and safe Black History Month.